Welcome to the Trailer Island podcast, where we... Oh, geez, I made that really loud, didn't I?
Wow, yeah, that
music was really loud.
That band are getting closer to us.
Could you guys just quieten down a bit, please?
Social distancing.
In fairness, it's a banger.
It is. It is. Very consistent every week, too.
They're good performers, aren't they?
They are good session musicians. Good job, guys. You're doing a great job.
What are we, like, episode 70, and this would be, like, their 70th performance?
We're up there
We're
in
up
the
there.
60s. I don't know where we are. So what are we? Trailer Island podcast. We compare films and their trailers. Did the film deliver what the trailer promised? So guess what? We're doing a TV show this week.
That's right.
We've done a few TV shows in the last couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. And just in case you think, they're doing a film this week. You're like, no, another TV show.
It's kind of been a Marvel TV month for us, hasn't
Bonanza.
it?
It's been wonderful.
Yeah.
It's been lovely.
I've enjoyed it.
Yes, I've certainly have.
Well, we're coming on the tail end, but yes, it's the last of these series of TV show episodes that we're doing. For now, at least in this universe, verse thing. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
My word's good.
Yes, you're doing
Yeah.
really well.
Thanks, guys. I'm Alex, and as always, I'm joined by
Steve.
Matthew.
And yeah, we're stuck on an island, and all we've got to do is talk about movies and trailers and TV shows.
Yeah, it's been depressing.
Oh, I mean, it's been
Real sad. I'm real sad about this. This is I'm an investment banker back on this is torture for me.
It's a stopgap.
Yeah. You guys keep talking about cinematography and grading, and I'm like, someone just talk to me about points.
Would you like
Excel
Someone
spreadsheets.
talk to me about interest rates. Talk to me about the resources economy, please.
we could talk? We could do an episode just about the budget of a movie, if that would help.
No. No.
All right. Okay. Well,
You can catch Steve on his other podcast, Steve and Me.
Yeah.
Slow money.
I can't wait to die.
Was that a statement about Steve, or was
No,
that
would be-
your
that would be-
subconscious coming out again?
That would be the subtitle to your podcast, I think.
Slow money, I can't wait to die.
Yeah, exactly.
That's also the title of my next rap album as well.
Oh, I can't wait for that. That'll also be on Spotify.
Well, this has been a very strange opening to this week's episode.
Well, this is a strange TV show.
It is a little bit,
Yeah.
isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just in case you haven't guessed by the title of this episode, who would like to introduce this
I'll do it.
TV show this week?
This week we're talking about Loki.
I know what this place is. The timekeepers have built quite the circus. And I see the clowns are playing their parts to perfection.
Big metaphor guy. I love it. Makes you sound super smart.
I am smart.
I know.
Okay.
Okay.
Please sign to verify this is everything you've ever said.
This is absurd.
Sign this too.
We protect the proper flow of time. You picked up the Tesseract breaking reality. I want you to help us fix it.
Why me?
I need your unique Loki perspective.
Do I get a weapon?
Yeah.
You really believe in this Loki variant?
Luckily, he believes in himself enough for the both of us.
Why? It is adorable that you think you could possibly manipulate me. I'm 10 steps ahead of you.
You're not big on trust, are you?
You can trust me.
Loki, I've studied almost every moment of your entire life. You've literally stabbed people in the back like 50 times.
I'd never do it again.
We touched on it in the last couple of weeks, but this is the culmination. This is like the soundtrack to this show is an absolute banger.
It is. I was. There's such a good soundtrack.
This is fantastic, and you get a taste of that. What's the instrument where does the real old scary music?
Theremin?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
theremin.
They make such good use of that in this soundtrack. It's
This is
fantastic.
this.
I don't think I ever skipped the Loki intro.
No, neither did I.
Yeah.
I enjoyed
Like
watching
every
it.
time I was like, I need to hear the music or the closing music as well.
Yeah,
It's
it's.
always, good.
I think what I will say just off the bat is that whilst like One Division is very much the same as this as well, I think this is the freshest thing that Marvel have done for ages.
yeah.
And no disrespect to the last couple of Avengers films, like they are very good, but this just feels just like the creativity was let off the tap.
Yeah.
It's so and the soundtrack's such a great place to start because this is such a unique soundtrack to this, and it's so atmospheric. And then we find that the rest of the show has this very unique visual style to it as
Yeah.
well, which is strangely very 1970s/80s in its decor and all of that. Yeah, I was so impressed by this. I just want to make that clear to start framing this conversation was how pleasantly surprised I was that Marvel had come up with this.
So what's this about?
Oh God, Steve, I'm going to defer to you on this one.
So it picks up straight after Endgame when the Avengers had gone back to 2012 and trying to steal the Tesseract there. And they obviously failed in that movie. They dropped the Tesseract and Loki picks it up. And this sort of picks up immediately after he picks up the Tesseract. He gets flung into the desert and after he's flung into the desert, he's picked up by the TVA, the Time Variance Authority. And they charge him with disrupting the flow of time. Usually you'd get pruned. From existence.
Meaning he gets zapped and disintegrated, basically.
Wiped from existence. However, this time the TVA are having an issue. There's a variant Loki on the loose, and they need Loki's help to find and track down this particular variant.
I think this is the most important thing that we get clear so that we can talk about this show is the idea of the variants. So just by the fact that the TVA exists and they're managing the timelines, it does suggest that there's the potential for other timelines and they want to stop that from happening. So there are variants which are the same person but different from different timelines. So think about, if you go, there's an evening you decide to either stay home to eat or you go out to a restaurant to eat, and that would create a different timeline. The TVA makes sure that whichever one is meant to be the more dominant timeline is the one that prevails.
The sacred timeline.
The sacred timeline. I think. Does that make sense? Have I explained that well enough?
You're a very own Miss Minutes. You are.
I liked Miss Minutes.
Miss Minutes was great.
Again, another one of those characters that Marvel seem to do where you want more of them.
Yeah.
Owen Wilson is back.
Hot damn.
Back in the spotlight.
Wow.
Did he say? He was meant to have said "wow" at least once in this series, but I didn't hear it.
I didn't hear it, and I wasn't sitting there waiting for it.
I was.
Did he say it when in Wonder? Did he say "wow" in Wonder? I think he did.
I think he did.
I reckon he did. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I saw the
He's
kid's
got very
face and he was like, "Wow."
Oh God, Steve. He does have a very distinct manner of talking.
Yeah, so he is a member of the TVA. He is an analyst, and he has spent his entire working life analyzing how Loki goes about doing his things.
Yeah.
And so in this case, they've got an issue where there is a variant of Loki who is getting up to no good. And he's like, wow, I'm going to use this Loki that I've now got and use his skills to suss things out. Now, the Loki that we've got in this series, who is our main following person, hasn't really gone through the arc that they go through in
the films.
So he's not much of a changed one. He's still that mischievous one that wants to dominate Earth.
This is essentially the same Loki that we saw in the very first Avengers film who was intent on world domination.
That's right.
That is the Loki we have here.
And what I did like is that in this, he does have that same arc where he comes to some realizations about himself, which he has in the movies, like particularly in Thor 3? Ragnarok. I feel like that he has an understanding that he can be helpful as a person despite still being a bit of a trickster.
Yes.
And in this, it happens a lot quicker, I would say.
Yeah.
But
having said that, a lot more happens to him across this show.
Yeah.
that's right.
It's a little more intense, I think, for him.
He goes through a lot.
Yes.
And you feel for him in moments, you hate him in moments, but his motivations stay true, which I really liked.
Yeah.
And he's also very funny in this.
Yeah.
This show has such a nice wit and nice friendly comedy to it. That
It's Tom Hiddleston, is that his name?
Yeah, that's
like,
right.
It's the same actor.
Yeah.
And you can see that he's passionate about this character.
He did come out recently I think a couple of weeks, well, when was it? It doesn't really matter. He came out and said that he would love to continue playing Loki just forever, basically.
I'd love to have him forever.
Yeah, so I think he's one of those actors he just loves doing it. And I think that's evident in this show is how much fun he's having.
He's been a fan favorite for 10 years, and there's good reason why. It's just every time he's on screen, he's just incredibly likable.
There's a good behind the scenes on all of these series, and the one about Loki is quite good where you see him, he talks about, like, they're on set and he's putting on his original Loki costume, and he said, I put this on for the first time 10 years ago, and just how much he enjoys every little bit of it. And that there was that moment that they knew that Loki was such a fan favorite that he went out on stage at Comic-Con as Loki, fully dressed up, and the fans ate it up. They absolutely, he demanded them as his subjects. I
haven't seen that.
And people were just like, oh my God, this is amazing. That's actually quite cool if you can find it online. But yeah, so Loki here goes through a bit of a journey.
He does.
And I think, what's Owen Wilson's character's name? Mobius.
Who I loved, by the way.
Mobius.
He's got the same. Does the M stand for Mobius as well?
I assume so.
Probably. He again an instantly likable character in this, and they do butt heads, Loki and Mobius, throughout the series. I think they have a cool relationship. But there are moments where basically Mobius is like down dog, remember I'm in charge here, that kind of thing. And then obviously Loki is legitimately a god. So that's that kind of fun interplay there. That was cool.
I really, really enjoyed the first episode of this. I thought the first episode was the most succinct of the series in that it had to set up this new world and had to set up all these new rules as well as give Loki that sort of that emotional journey that he's had over movies for the last 10 years within the space of 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And that the device by which they do that is excellent. It's very, very it's a nice little nostalgia trip for the audience as well. They show in like his
technically his future.
Is technically his future.
Yeah.
You get to see what happens in Thor the Dark World and Thor Ragnarok and in Endgame as well, and
which was good. And his reactions to that I thought was very interesting. They played it very... It wasn't the reaction I thought that character would have. Well, we can spoil Endgame. That came out a few years ago.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously he dies in Endgame.
No, Infinity War, sorry.
Is it? Oh, no, it is. Those are one movie anyway, really. So he does, and he sees his death at the beginning of this TV show going like, what, you mean if I continue doing what I wanted to do, I could... And that is the catalyst, I think, for his character arc is, okay, well, that's not going to work, is it? I'll have to try and find it. I think he tries to think of other ways to achieve the same goal, but obviously not coming up against Thanos.
Yeah. Adding to that is the fact that there's a point toward the end of the episode where he goes seeking the Tesseract once more.
Yes.
And he finds out that, like, because this is the TVA, there are a bunch of Infinity Gems just sort of lying about.
They're
offices
using them as
here.
paperweights, which was amazing.
And he sort of realizes that the Infinity Gems are not a power. The TVA, that's the power right there.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great moment.
It was. No, it definitely was.
It's really nice how it takes a step back. Like, a lot of the episodes are just conversations.
Yeah.
Like, punctuated with excellent action and storytelling, but I really like those moments. It took time to breathe.
This redeemed, along with WandaVision as well, redeemed the bitter aftertaste that was Black Widow and how boring the action was. And again, this is a common talking point for me these days, but it is true. Again, like this great just like one-on-one scenes with characters, but also the action. You're not bored through that. You're not waiting like, let me get back to the really nitty-gritty character stuff. This delivers on both fronts, which is great. It also provides with a lot of really interesting worlds. We go again. I mean, they are looking after time, so there is a bit of time traveling going on, which is a lot of fun. And we go to a few different places, which was I love the design. It just looks so good. And
because time travel is always so difficult to you could write 1,000 essays on how time travel works in movies, and in this they have a good little mechanic about basically destroying artifacts of time. What would you say? Disturbance?
Yeah.
And so, it just raises a few less questions about the impact of time travel and reality. And, I think it made it palatable for an audience to understand.
Yeah, I think so. The only question I really had, and it's not a question that really needs asking, it was more just like me musing to myself, was the Avengers in Endgame travel in time.
Yeah.
Like, why were they not also arrested?
Oh, it said in the first episode.
Oh, did it?
They were
Yeah.
meant to do that.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Why didn't they?
No,
What?
no,
Oh, you mean the Avengers were meant to
they
do
were
that?
meant to travel in time.
Yeah, there was something about what did they say?
That was the timekeeper's plan all along, or something like that.
Yeah, it was something about, but didn't Loki complain about them doing
yeah.
it? He was like, well, hang on, didn't like you've just shown me in this that they did that. He goes, no, they were meant to do that.
It's all part
Okay.
of the
It's
sacred
all part
timeline.
of the, all part of the sacred timeline.
Which does bring us on to the idea of the timekeepers. So
Yeah.
the TVA is ruled by these kind of elusive, we don't really know where they are, but these very powerful beings who are the ones who are in charge of the sacred timeline, and the TVA work for them. And I suppose in terms of plot, Loki's plan, which is obviously not to help Mobius, just go along with it while he can, is to take control of that
Yeah.
sacred timeline. That's his new, domination plan.
Because we're still talking about the original dominant Loki
That's
that wants to
right.
take over everything, and he's just like, well, this is a much bigger now.
Yep.
Yeah, so whilst he's, going along with Mobius in search of this other Loki variant, he's still scheming and doing his own sort of plans. I did like that moment where Mobius says, well, you're the god of mischief, but what you do isn't that mischievous. You're just heinous, like you're killing people.
Yeah.
How is that mischievous? Mischievous is, pretending to, just some kind of fun prank. It's not murdering entire cities or something like that.
He's turning himself into a snake and then biting him.
Yeah, because he knows that Thor adores snakes
that's
and he
right.
picked
And
it up
there's
to
that-
admire it.
And like, there's that beautiful scene, which is out of the mythology of Loki, is that he gets put in a naughty corner and he gets put in a time loop room,
Yeah.
where it's Thor's wife who he's just cut the hair off of,
Lady Sif.
Lady Sif. Is Sif and Thor, didn't they get married?
She's not in Ragnarok. She's in Dark World. They did not get married.
Okay, I feel like there was something going on there in the mythology.
What
where
about Natalie
Sif-
Portman? I haven't seen the first two Thor films, so
They don't get married.
I haven't seen them. I know. I haven't seen Black Panther either.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Okay, you got a bit of watching to do, my boy.
I know.
But, that was something where there was a thing in Norse mythology where Loki has chopped off someone's hair for a joke and she's not very happy with it. And Thor's not very happy with it. But there's that thing where every 30 seconds she walks in
Yeah.
and slaps him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or punches him.
on repeat.
On repeat. And it could be in there for 10,000 years. It could be Groundhog Day and you never know.
Something I've always liked about the Marvel films is just how concise they can be. They don't really push that to our boundary, and it's always a nice, neat story to be told. And I was deadly worried about the TV series format. I was like, are they going to?
It's just going to spiral.
Is this going to spiral? Is this going to become too laborious, or is it going to be too self-indulgent? And what I've found is that, especially with all three of these series, it's starting to feel like the TV format is almost their own little comic book series. In that, little comic book arcs are always about 6 issues long.
Yeah.
It's funny. I don't think it's a spoiler to say that there is going to be a season 2 of Loki.
Yeah.
Part of me kind of would have liked to have thought this could have been a really good Band of Brothers situation where it's just one-off kind of thing. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing that we're going to get more, but I think when we get into later seasons, that's where we're in the trouble of it maybe becoming a bit laborious, and that's where they could start really pushing things and losing their focus, because this first season is extremely focused.
Well, the creator of this particular first season has walked away.
Oh no.
He said, "No, that's the story I wanted to tell.
Yeah.
That's all I need to do." Which that's not a massive issue.
No, I would say, yeah, okay. I don't want to talk about the ending, but yeah.
They have set themselves up to tell more stories.
They have, yes.
They have. So I'm not super worried about that. I'm thankful that they've been able to handle the TV series format quite well.
They have, yeah. No, they have.
It feels comic booky.
Yes.
And this raises a thing for me about, the storyline of Loki is, the ultimate conclusion of that is what happens in the end, essentially the end of time, like what happens. In terms of Marvel then, when does this end? When does Marvel stop making these movies, or are we just is now a part of our cinematic universe? Is that Marvel will not stop?
And this is, again, when I always say that after Endgame, I kind of was done with the Marvel thing, like in terms of following it actively. Again, it's like I'm kind of just hesitant to embrace this next phase because I don't know how big it's going to be.
Well, and that's the thing. Does it fall into the Simpsons trap where it just can't stop?
Yes, exactly. That like when
It just keeps going.
we've had one very natural ending of the 10 years of the Infinity Saga, which was done very well. And there's obviously room to... They've got so many characters that they can do so much with that. But the Infinity Saga had such a plan that they followed really well. I'm worried that... Is there a arc for what we're setting up at the moment, or are these just like, hey, here's some like little random things that kind of connect?
Is it drawing from the comics? I know they are drawing on characters from the comics. I guess they've got a lot to draw on from there. But does it need to be translated to film?
Or do we want? I mean,
Or
again,
do we want it to keep going? Like I don't know, do something else. But it makes some money.
Saturation
That's the thing.
is a thing. I think the reason these series feel so fresh and why I've enjoyed these so much as opposed to watching the Black Widow film is that it's a new format, and I've never seen like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or any. I know they're obviously TV series as well, but it felt different. But I think once this machine really kicks up and they're making loads of TV series, it might start to feel a bit same suddenly. I think the other issue is that I've watched all three of these pretty close together, so I am also aware that I don't want to let that affect. I suffer from superhero fatigue after a while. I think most people do, and I think I might be in danger of feeling that way anyway, only because I've watched these more or less back to back. So I don't think they're designed to be watched back to back like I have done, and I think if you space them out, they'll be able to breathe a bit more.
And I guess what we also got to accept and consider too is that these last three episodes that we've done, WandaVision, Falcon, Winter Soldier, and now Loki, is that the TV series existing in the Marvel universe is not new.
No.
But these three have been particularly marquee because they are film characters, major film characters now appearing in TV shows. Because we've had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we had Agent Carter.
You had Daredevil, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, The Punisher, Luke Cage.
Heaps.
Loads of them.
Heaps.
And I've never seen any of those because I've never wanted to. I've
neither have I.
needed... I'm sure they're really good if you're a really big fan of the films, but I was like, no, I've got what I need out of the movies. Whereas these TV shows, just from the trailers, especially Loki, I was really keen to see, it felt like it had something really significant to add.
Yeah.
And I like that. I'm just, like I say, my only fear is that as time goes on, that significance might diminish.
I think you're both right, because Marvel isn't slowing down in the next 2 to 3 years at least.
No.
What they need to do, I'm not super concerned about an overarching narrative anymore. I want to see more things like Loki, like WandaVision in particular. I want to see more unique voices in these properties.
Yes.
And we've got, 60 odd years worth of stories to draw on.
Yeah.
60 odd years worth of characters to draw on as well.
Yikes.
There's no lack of different sort of stories to tell. I just hope that, like Loki, like WandaVision, we're finding unique voices to tell it, and they're still telling it well and with passion.
I would suggest as well the big one is, again, when we did Black Widow, we said that this movie was made by committee. All these shows, I think for me personally, with the exception maybe of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but WandaVision and this definitely feel like the creative teams are allowed to actually be creative and just throw wild ideas out there. We have a version of Loki in this TV show that's an alligator.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like, that's a terrific idea.
Shakespearean Loki.
Yeah, we got Richard E. Grant as a fantastic appearance as an older Loki, which is great. But I feel like, it's got that personality that sometimes I think we can lose in these big series that so many people work on. It can become a bit sterile, I think, sometimes.
Yeah. I think Marvel there needs to be some concession from Marvel as to whether everyone needs to watch every Marvel property, because I don't think that's the case anymore.
I've never, like I said, I haven't watched any of those like Luke Cage or anything like that, and I don't feel like I've lost anything.
Yeah,
nothing's missing from the movies, because the movies for me is the key thing to watch in this universe.
But particularly for Disney Plus, they need to step back and go, do all of these properties need to factor into the big overarching plot?
Yeah. Well, they're doing that TV show, What If, the animation.
Yeah.
Which I was curious about. It's not something that I'm going to rush out to watch, but something that really made me concerned is them saying, this is still part of the canon. I feel like that's a show that does not need to be part of the canon. What If is basically this alternate versions of superheroes, basically, is what that's going to be. Like, what if Captain America was actually English, which is such a character trait, and forward thinking. That kind of show is good as a novelty thing, I think. I don't see how that would ever need to feed back into the main story.
And I don't think it will. I think it's going to be there for fanboys like me who are on board for the journey and willing to look at every one of these things. And I hope that people can sit down and watch it and not really be expecting a larger tie-in narrative with the What If. I want people to sit down and go, I'm enjoying this just for what it is. It's something that a part of the MCU, but not super a part of it. It's just going to be nice to fun to watch.
Now, if I may bring it back to the trailer.
Yes.
Talking about all these different TV shows, it can be very overwhelming for someone who's new to the Marvel thing. Let's be honest, this has been going on since 2007 or 8, whenever the first Iron Man film came out. There's a lot of content there. This trailer, I think, sells this show really well. If you like the trailer, you'll love this TV show.
Yep. I agree. I had a big smile on my face watching that trailer because there were things that were happening in there that I remember in the TV show, and I go, I love it.
Yeah,
it's so well put together.
Especially the comedy as well is great.
Yeah, the production value is absolutely probably the best you can get in cinema at the moment. But it's a TV show.
I'm assuming these all cost a lot because these are like movie grade special effects. They're shot in the anamorphic widescreen,
and it's probably why a lot of the scenes are conversations between people. Some of the CGI is a little bit so in a few things, but you just don't care.
Yeah, I mean, there was one of my favorite episodes. In fact, two of my favorite episodes, I believe, are back to back. Both take place on an alien planet, different alien planets, and I'm looking at it again, it's not perfect. I'm going, this could be like a Star Wars film. Like, this looks fantastic. There's a great continuous take while they're trying to board a shuttle later on in the show, and it's done as this sort of, I guess, race against time to get. And I thought that was terrifically well done. I thought, this is great. This is what you would, if this was in a movie, I would not have ever thought, this doesn't look like a proper movie.
And the tension that you feel, you worry about the characters you think you wouldn't care about, you care about them, and it's just like, I hope you succeed. Yeah.
It was good. So yeah, I think that was the thing for me when I knew we were going to do these Marvel things. And which can go either way. Like the Black Widow trailer, I seem to remember being all right.
Yeah,
it definitely didn't indicate what the film would be like. But this, as soon as I saw the trailer, I was like, no, I'm genuinely excited to watch this, and I think that's a really good mark especially for someone like me who's kind of bored of the Marvel thing. To get excited about something is they've done well to do that.
Well, what would you out of a 5 watts? Do they have a name for their pruning wand?
The baton things. Yeah. I don't know.
Wow.
I was just 5 variants.
5 variants, Infinity Stones.
Yeah, I do like some of the realizations that some have about that being a variant, because Loki is a variant, and it's just how that works with you psychologically is such a good point.
Yeah.
You want to go with variants?
Yeah, let's do variants.
All right.
Yeah.
Would you?
I'll go first.
Okay.
It's going to be a 5 for me.
Okay.
Absolutely. I think this is probably the most integral TV series to sort of the new world they're building for post Infinity Stones. It's done so well, and you wouldn't have thought that a Loki TV series about him on alternate timelines would do that. But for me, this is absolutely a 5. I enjoyed everything about it. I thought the look, the feel, the cinematography, the music, the absolute amazing score by Natalie Holt. That was excellent. I loved all the characters in this as well, and I loved the reveals. It was right up my alley. It satisfied me to no end.
That's terrific.
And just ask us. You are hard to satisfy.
Indeed.
Yeah, that is true.
Matt, do you want to go?
If that's all right. I am not a huge Marvel fan, but I ate up this show the whole way through and was genuinely excited about what was going on. And for me, that's a big deal because I'm not a huge Marvel person. It's a 5 from me.
Well, I'm going to disappoint you both.
Wouldn't be the first time.
And go with 4.5. Because the only little problem that I had with it is that I felt that it got a little drawn out just before the end. Around episodes 4 and 5, I got a little bored. I was a little bit like, okay, let's move things along a bit now. But thinking back about it now, I was like, why was I bored? Like, why did I feel like that? And I suppose I'd have to watch it again, which I would be happy to watch this again because it was so engaging.
And it is only 6 episodes.
And it is only 6 episodes. They're, I think, 40, 50-minute episodes, roughly.
Yeah.
But I did find myself just absolutely pressing next episode on this because did they release it all at once or was it weekly?
Weekly.
Okay, so I caught up with it after it was all available.
Me too. I watched it pretty much in one go.
And I reckon, I watched it maybe over 3 or 4 days. And yeah, so it just had that, in terms of that binge watching, there was a bit of a slowdown in the episodes 4 or 5, but then it ramped right up again. I was like, this is good. I'm in.
Interesting.
Maybe it was even only an episode. I don't know. Anyway, you guys are wrong. No. So 4.5 because I just Okay. Now I feel bad the way that you're both
No,
looking
14.5 is great.
It's a pretty good
It's
score.
fun. It's okay.
It's a pretty good score.
It's a very good score.
Yeah, no, I think well deserved. Well, that was a fun Marvel month, wasn't it?
was.
Well, not quite a whole month.
Almost
enjoyed it.
3 weeks, roughly.
Yeah.
When I say roughly, it was 3 weeks.
It was exactly 3
It was
weeks.
exactly 3 weeks. Back
Certainly
to our
made,
normal
certainly made up for February, that's for sure.
What was in February?
Australia movie month.
Oh, I love that. We should do another Australia movie month. There are so many to choose
No, there
from.
wasn't, was there? Really?
Actually, I think Australia movie month was our worst ratings that we ever had.
Sad.
Sorry, not sorry.
So maybe we need to do World Movie Month or something like
Yeah,
that. You know, if there's an Indian film that anyone wants to do, or a Norwegian film, or a Chinese film. You know, whatever. I don't know. Give us an idea.
The
you know?
Icelandic version of Rams, why not?
Why not?
The original version,
Yeah.
as it were.
Yeah.
You know, if you're listening from your country, where are you from? Send us a movie that's popular in your country, and we'll have a watch of it and see if we can actually interpret what's going on.
Yeah.
and hopefully not offend anyone, which is also a good option. We've been the Trailer Island podcast, and we compare films and their trailers to the film to what the trailer promise. You can find us all the things on Facebook, Instagram, all those sort of things. You know, send us a message. Send us an email, contact@trailerisland.com.au. And you can send us a message on Facebook as well. Send in your requests. We'd love to hear from you. I've been Alex. I was joined by...
Matthew.
Mobius S. Mobius.
Oh, Mobius Steve? Is it Steve? Is that what it stands for?
What am I going to say?
We've been the Trailer Island podcast. Good night, everybody.
And
What was that?
I think he's had a stroke.
Oh, dear.
This is a Narrative Network podcast.